Do 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 do. All right, we're live. Okay, what's up, everybody? Scott with KingGold. One of these days, it's coming soon. Okay, I'm actually going to get like a shirt that says, I'm trying to figure out the side. It's going to say like Kingdom Gold on it. I'm going to be official. Maybe even get like a photo backdrop or something that says it. Like I'm telling you, man, I gotta give Joe Rogan a run for his money. Um,
Yeah.
gotta be official, man. So all right, just a quick story. There's, in the course of your life, you run into people that, it's kind of in passing, and it's, you like that person, but you don't get to spend as much time with them as you would like to, and like, but every time you do, you just really enjoy your time together. And that is what my friend Charles Duplechain is like to me. So we go to the same church, and we've kind of been around the same circles, but it's like every time I've talked to this guy, he has just been. It's just like he's a solid dude. He's one of those people that you really want in your life. And then come to find out, he's a great family man. He's a financial advisor. He doesn't let life happen to him. He goes and tries to take life, take the bull by the horns and manage his life correctly. And, Charles, I got a lot of respect for you, man. I'm really glad to have you on my page and pick your brain a little bit. So how you doing tonight, man?
Hey, I'm fantastic, man. I appreciate all the superlatives that you gave me out there.
Yeah.
I could say the same thing about you, man.
Yeah. Well, you definitely earned it, man. And, you know, you're one of those people where I think, there's people that don't realize they could write a book about their life, and I think you're one of those people. Like I want to help you write a book one day. What do you think about that?
Hey, I got some titles ready too. So
Do you really?
I've been thinking about it.
Can you share one?
Yeah. Um, the transition from the dad bod to the father figure. It's a little
Hey, there
play
you
on words
go.
with fitness and all that stuff. Since that's one of the things that I like to do a lot.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome, man, bro. We got a lot of time ahead of us, man. we got a lot of stuff we need to do together for sure. So, all right, so enough. I love you, man. I think you're awesome. So tell us a little bit about what you do. Where you're from. Give us just kind of a general introduction and how you got here.
So, originally not from the Baton Rouge area. Both of my parents were in the military. My dad was drafted for Vietnam. My mom went into the military around the same time. Me and my sisters, I'm the only boy of four kids. We were born, I would say, all across the United States. I have a sister that was born overseas. I was born in El Paso, Texas. And when my parents retired,
I didn't know that.
they, ironically enough, um, my mom's side of the family is from the Montpelier area, Louisiana. My dad's family is from Church Point, Louisiana, which is right by
Okay.
Lafayette. So when they decided to retire, they moved over to the Baton Rouge area as a middle ground to be close to their parents. And that's how I got plugged into going to high school and college in the Baton Rouge area, graduated from LSU,
Where'd you
started
go to high
out
school?
Zachary High.
Okay.
So shout out to the Broncos.
Let's say go Broncos.
Yeah, that's right. So went to LSU, graduated from LSU, started teaching math, algebra two,
Whoa, I remember
trigonometry.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
teaching days. I coached a little basketball too, but I was always interested in the financial business, the entrepreneurial side of everything. And I was just in a position in my life where me and Krishandra were recently married, and we didn't need a whole lot to survive on in
Right.
terms of financial things. And this is before kids. So yeah, I told her that I was really, interested in, pursuing forward with this, prayed on this. And then finally, I just decided to go for it. So if anybody out there is looking to venture into the entrepreneurial space, start a business, getting into sales, I highly suggest doing it while you're young, whenever you don't need a whole lot,
Bruh.
because it's much easier to make that work moving into it than if you need 10 grand a month to live. And then all of a sudden you got to make that up in a new business. That's
Yeah.
not impossible because I see people do it.
Bro,
But
that's gonna be one of my books actually.
yeah,
Yeah. Uh-oh. Charlotte, you want to be on TV real quick? Or on is this TV, internet? What is this called?
TV,
Someone apparently doesn't want to
Facebook
go to bed.
Live.
All right. Oh my gosh. Both of you are awake? All right. We got some Interview crashers. All right, y'all say hey real quick.
Hello, how y'all doing? Look how beautiful they
Hey
are.
to Mr. Charles. All right. Okay.
How are y'all?
I know, right? Girl dads, right? All right.
Hey,
Now
that's right. I
I'm gonna
got
count
three
to
of them.
3, and then y'all go back to bed. Okay? 1, 2, 3. And go.
Bye-bye.
Totally unplanned for the record.
Yeah, hopefully my girls don't do that.
Yeah.
2 of them are upstairs, and if my 1-year-old just walks up in here, then yeah, she is the ultimate interview crasher.
Yeah.
But
Right. Yeah.
she's asleep for now, so we're good.
There you go. Well, I thought they were asleep, but apparently not. Yeah, actually, I think I'm going to write a book on that, or at least I think I'm actually going to do like a series of videos talking about have you heard the expression dig your well before you're thirsty?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's a book. I can never remember the guy's name. It's so terrible, but um especially now with like me, having kids and the wife and now trying to start my entrepreneurial journey, bruh, it is so
Yeah.
hard. And just like you said, I wish I'd have started years ago before I needed it, and that's what I'm trying to wake people up to now with Kingdom Gold. Don't wait. Don't wait. Do it today because tomorrow is going to be too late. And again, not to say it's impossible, but yeesh.
Yeah, like I said, I've seen people do it before, but that is I mean, it's not impossible, boy. You're talking about a hustle and grind kind of a thing.
No doubt.
But it can be done. That's an encouraging thing for
And
those who are
and
later.
you're a family man too, and
Mhm,
you want to be there with your kids as much as you
mhm.
possibly can. And when you're with your kids, you want to be with your kids. You don't want to be on your phone, looking at emails or
Yep,
whatever. And I found I've really had to struggle with that because it's easy to just get lost in the business stuff and you're trying to play with your
yep.
kids. And I've had to like make myself, put the phone down and whatever. And then it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna ship the kids off to bed and go grind for an hour. Um, so yeah, it's tough, man.
Yeah, I'm 100% there with you. It's easy for this thing to be consuming, and sometimes it will be. But it's a lot of ebb and flow, though.
But see, that's another reason I wanted to have you on because you didn't you have your oldest whenever you went back to school to do your financial advisor stuff?
So Jade, who is 5 going on 6, was
Is she
born
almost
right as I
6?
was.
Wow.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how
Wow.
fast that time goes by. Was what, 25 years old, 25, 26 years old,
Yeah.
studying for all of my investment licenses, so all my securities licenses, Series 7, 66, insurance licenses, you name it. I was studying for it, and yeah, I mean, we just had 1 kid back then, and it's just kind of incredible how that is. But yeah, we had her in the midst of me getting into the industry.
Dude, talk about that a little bit. Like, how did you? Because that's a situation a lot of people our age are in, right? They
Hmm.
they they realize they want more out of life, but they do have to balance the family and especially like a kid aspect of
Hmm.
it. So how did you do that, for the studying part? And then I'm sure you had to go somewhere to take your exams. And
Hmm.
so how did you and Krishandra manage that? And how did you, like mentally, how did you prepare yourself? Like, okay, I have to like zero in and study, and then maybe the kids screaming in the background or something. Like, just tell us about that part of your journey. How did you do that?
Not easy, to say the least. There had to be a mutual understanding between Krishandra and I if this was going to work. Um, just the time and the sacrifice that it would take for me to be successful in this. And to a degree, we still have to have these conversations because I'm still obviously a
Yeah,
very young man, and I don't have 20 or 30 years in the industry like
right.
some of my peers are contemporaries in the business does. So just having that conversation on a consistent basis and being
Hmm.
on the same
That's good,
page.
man.
And the thing that brought us together is just an alignment in the overall direction that we want to go in our life. So if we have an idea of we want our life to look like this, then okay, these are the sacrifices that we have to do in order to get there. So if it means that
Man,
some
that's so
days I'm
good, bro.
working 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours. I've had a few of those days, during the holiday season, which is, typically one of my busier seasons. It's, with the mindset that we're going somewhere that we collectively agree that we're going on. And we just know that, we both have parts to play in order to get us there. And her role is just as important as my role. So there's no
Absolutely.
way that I'm going to be able to do this if she's not holding it down and watching, the kids and cleaning up and, doing all the stuff around the house that would free me up to, at the time, studying for my licenses, seeing clients. Before COVID, I traveled a lot as well. Um, and then now I'm involved in, mentoring, training, and directing people who are just starting out in their careers, as well as seeing clients. So, um, again, regardless of what it is that we're doing in that season, is with the bigger goals in mind.
Yeah.
And I think that's really the thing that propelled us to do that.
There, man, there's so much like wisdom to unpack in what you just said. So first thing, okay, you said it's something so simple, constant communication. Constant communication is so key. And, just, letting your wife or your husband or whatever, know what's going on and what you need to do, not just, today, but an hour from now, 10 hours from now, 2 days from now, just planning that out and communicating beforehand. um yeah, that's key, man. Absolutely. um so whenever you how do those like how do you get those conversations started, which by the way, for any stay-at-home moms or part-time moms or whatever, I always give a shout out to you guys because I feel like, you guys are always undervalued, or at least, people don't appreciate how hard, moms work, and then if you're a working mom too. So shout out to you guys for sure. But how do you initiate those conversations, or like, so do you plan out your day or your week or whatever, and then you'll talk every Sunday, or like how does that practically, how do you guys initiate that communication?
In the beginning, it was a lot of arguments in the spirit of keeping it 100. If I were to be completely honest, in the beginning, not so much now. In the
Well, you got to
beginning, it
learn
was,
how to communicate, right?
yeah, that was us learning. Because at the time I didn't know what I didn't know. I knew it was going to take a lot of work to getting any business off the ground, or starting a career in anything that is entrepreneurial in nature is just going to require sacrifice and hard work, and those types of things. But there's still an element of you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So now, with some years of experience, now it's a lot easier for me to communicate and convey those messages, around communication. So for me, and this is one of the things that I teach is, we're really, really, really big on the calendar, to the point where anything I put on the calendar I treat like an appointment, whether it is a phone call that I have with a client, a date night that I have with Krishandra, the training that I do from a physical fitness standpoint throughout the week, even time to meal prep and do all the the nutrition and everything. Everything is run based off that calendar. So whenever we communicate, it's okay, Charles, what's on your calendar for this upcoming week? And it's easy for me to say, okay, I have 5 appointments this day with clients. I'm going to be in New Orleans this day, or I'm going to be to this other day is a little bit of a lighter day. It's all based around that calendar, because
Yeah.
for us, the calendar is the accountability that we are doing what we say we're going to do, and it goes both ways. So she runs a calendar as well, so we hold each other accountable in the sense where we want to
That's really
run an
good, man.
effective calendar.
I really like
And
what you said. Treat everything on the calendar like an appointment, because whenever
mhm,
whenever you have an appointment, right? It's, you show up a little earlier, or you commit a little bit more to it. Maybe that's a better way to say it.
yeah,
So I really like that. Like, treat everything that,
absolutely.
for one, put it on the calendar, and then for
Hmm.
two, treat it with the respect that it deserves and the attention it deserves. And I think, you waste a lot less time doing that when you plan out day by day. And that's something
Yeah,
I'm really struggling, is probably the right word to figure out the balance, because it, it's, maybe it's just me, maybe I just need to commit more, but it's the
yeah,
like, you never know what's going on with the kids type thing. And I work in a plant, so it's not, I don't necessarily have, I have like a mostly like 9 to 5 type schedule, but then if I have to work late
Hmm.
one day and, I'm driving from, 30 minutes away and if there's traffic and stuff. So
Right.
I'm trying to
Absolutely.
do better about what you're talking about. Like get it on the calendar, get it set, do that thing for that hour, and then,
Mhm.
move on. Cause I'm not the best at that, I'll admit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't either whenever we first got started with this. And somebody had said it, I believe it was her name is Christy Wright. She said something around the calendar that I thought was really good. And it was not to prioritize your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. So there are a
Yeah.
few things. So whenever we're talking about the calendar as an example, and by no means is this perfect right now. But we just have a conversation. What are the most important things that needs to happen in our world? Like if nothing else gets done, these are the top few things that we need to get done.
Right.
And some of that stuff is more on the personal side. Some of the stuff is more business side. So as a personal non-negotiable, I know that um, we're putting consistent date nights on the calendar as a non-negotiable. Client meetings don't get in the way of that. Advisors that have to coach don't get in the way of that. Kids don't get in the way of that, bearing a crazy sickness or something.
Right. Right.
That's a
Right. Emergencies
non-negotiable.
and all that ruled out. Yeah.
Emergency, absolutely. Or my training, that's another non-negotiable that's on the calendar. Because I know that that's one of the things that enables me to be my best, not just from a business standpoint, but just even as a better man, a better husband, a better
Yeah.
father, all of those things. So again, it's different things for different people in terms of what those non-negotiables are. But they're usually two or three things that need to happen, and if those things happen, it avoids a lot of crazy arguments.
You know what? Here's what we're going to do, Charles. We're going to do another interview strictly on time management, prioritize or scheduling the priorities, exactly what we're just talking about. Because I am, I know you're a solid guy when it comes to that. I know I need a lot of help with that. So we're gonna, I'm gonna get you on again. We're gonna do another, because we could talk about that for a long time. Like
Oh yeah, absolutely,
there's a lot to unpack
absolutely.
there. Because I know I might, I'm gonna just call you one day and be like, "Hey, give me all the information."
Oh yeah,
Hoard
look,
it to
you
myself.
got it.
Yeah.
Look, you
So,
got it.
okay. So explain what a financial advisor actually does. And I'm gonna twist it around a little bit to kind of move into something that I'm doing too. What would you say
Okay.
is the difference between a financial advisor and a financial coach?
So, um, good question. Financial advisors, from an industry standpoint, are more or less product sensitive. Their advice is centered more around products, which there's nothing wrong with that. So whether you're talking about a stock in the stock market, a mutual fund, exchange traded fund, insurance policies, protection policies, property and casualty things, a financial advisor will provide advice around those different areas, whereas a financial coach is one of those people that would put you in a position to accomplish whatever financial goals you have in your life. So one is more or less okay. It's not like if I say, and this is not a sales pitch by any means, but if I say, Scott, I suggest that you buy 100 shares of Exxon stock because of this, 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 and this. That's much different than okay. Well, let's go ahead and protect against life risk and save money so that way we're ready for the opportunities whenever they present themselves,
Right.
whatever those opportunities are. So one is more or less centered around a product, the other one is centered more around a process.
Yeah. Well said, sir. Yeah, because that's so in my life, okay, I've been around a lot of people, especially in the plant world, things like that. You know, there's a lot of people that make a lot of money, but then they don't have anything to show for it. And then there's a
Yep.
lot of people that don't make a lot of money and they're scrounging for everything that they can. And I've kind of realized, and this is one of the things I think Dave Ramsey actually got really nailed it on the head was, a lot of people's financial issues are behavioral and they're more mind
Mhm.
problems than financial problems. It's not necessarily they're not making enough money. It's more like they're just, money ignorant. And so I actually started branching into that, like the financial coaching thing, where I can help
Hmm.
people. I actually talked to a lot of people here recently that it's like they don't even look at their check stub, and they don't know like how much is being taken out for insurance or 401k, and they're kind of just like living their life. And it's like, if I can help people just like get it in front of their eyes and wake them up, like, no, hey, you have to look
Hmm.
at this. And for me, it's like I can say, okay, now that we've saved this amount of money, go talk to Charles, and Charles can tell you like some good investments of, where to go put that in, or if you need X type of insurance or something like that.
Right, which is interesting, that you had mentioned that. Um, just because it's behavioral. I think that's a lifestyle thing. One of the things that I think a coach would do, the word accountability comes to mind, because
Absolutely.
I feel like 75 to 80% of the people out there know what they need to do. They need to save more money. They need to pay more attention. They need to exercise more, prioritize fitness. They need to spend more time with their family, but having the accountability there to reinforce and encourage positive decisions, that's what the role of a good coach, would be.
Right.
And the financial sector is no different.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's really my goal with it. Like for me, so I am going to charge people for it. But to me, it's like if I can save you in 3 months the cost of your coaching session, then to me I've succeeded. You know what I mean? Like that way
Right.
you almost get your session for free, and you get the skill set to keep saving that X amount of dollars for forever, essentially.
Yep. Well, it's funny, because I do a good bit of teaching around that throughout, my client appointment process. Is I use the market as an example. So the average individual investor, Vanguard, did a study of what somebody did on their own over a 30-year period, and they made money. They made about 5% on their money, which for people in the investing world, while that's not a negative thing, it's nothing to jump up and down for joy about. Whereas, if you study what the market actually did over that 30-year period was somewhere around 10%. So the difference between the 5% that the average individual person made and the 10% of that the market actually did is not stock market risk. It's not tax risk. It's not, it's behavioral risk.
Yeah.
And the role of a good financial coach and financial advisor to a degree is to provide coaching whenever those behavioral things happen and you're managing the emotional risk that goes along with financial decisions. You'll make a smart decision instead of a not smart decision.
Absolutely. Man, you have such a good way of saying things. You wanna do all my interviews with me? Like we could be a tag team interviewing thing. Yeah.
Hey, it'd be fun, man. It'd be
Yeah,
fun.
there you go.
I meet with a lot of people over Zoom, and I meet with a lot of people individually and collectively. So I do a lot of these appointments.
Okay, cool.
So
All right. So you were doing financial advising for a while, and then you moved into managing director. Tell us how your job now is different and or the same from what you were doing, and
mhm.
like what do you feel made you take that next step?
So I wear essentially two hats, so to speak. I still do see clients um, on a fairly consistent basis, just because you work so many and whenever you're first starting in the industry, you're working to find clients. You're pounding the phones, you're knocking doors, you're visiting businesses, you're going to the networking events, whatever you could do to get in front of people. And then after you're in the industry or any business for a certain period of time, I call it the crossover period where for whatever reason you're hustling and you're doing what you have to do to get appointments on your calendar and filling that up, and then you reach that crossover period where now my phone won't stop ringing, and you work so hard to get to that place, and then now you're at that place. I'm like, I can't just give this up. Not to mention from a business and a revenue standpoint, that's money that I'd be leaving on the table.
Yeah,
And then especially where I'm gracious enough to be right now, it's could be relatively good opportunities for me and my family. So I still do that. But the thing that actually led to me the teaching, the training, and the development and the mentorship of people coming into the industry is the success that I've had in um, just building a client base, building a book of business, and how do you teach other people how to do that?
Yeah.
One of the challenges is, if you talk to people who've been in the industry for 20 or 30 years ago, or for 20 or 30 years, business is not done the same way now as it was done
Right.
in the 90s and the 80s. So there was no social media, there were no cell phones, there were no, there
Right.
wasn't any of that stuff. So for lack of better words, I'm not going to go as far as say that the older guys are irrelevant, but it's like, how does that transcend over to the newer generation of people who are just getting
Correct.
started in this? Whereas with me, I mean, just being a younger person and, kind of tapping into the best of both worlds. Now it's like, okay, can I teach somebody else how to grow a business and how to build? And, what does it look like to run a professional process? What does it mean to run an efficient calendar? How do you make recommendations and suggestions for clients that are suitable for their situation? And how do you service clients? And how do you build a business? How do you hire staff? These are questions that, people would
Yeah.
ask. So, the other part of my job is to essentially put people in a position where they can accomplish that goal, whatever they want their business to look like.
Man, that's so awesome, dude. I'm in the exactly what you just said. It's not that the old ways, so to speak, are irrelevant. For guys like us, we're millennials, right? It's almost like
Mhm.
we are in a unique position where we have to take the wisdom and the what's the right word, the victories that are the and we have to deal with the sins of the fathers too. But
Mhm.
the people the things
Yep.
that people have figured out from before, if we did them exactly like they were, it's not going to work in the 21st century. But our job is to take what they figured out and figure out how to do it in a 21st century internet, social media, text messages, auto response, that type of world. So, and I think that's where some people kind of get lost in the business and in the marketing, the sales world. They think like, oh, Mr. So and so, he just wants me to go out and talk to everybody I see. And then you get this person who's like, oh, you got to use the internet. And it's like at some point you have to marry the two, and that's when you get
Mhm.
real success.
Uh-oh. I hold that thought. I think I hear my 1-year-old in the background.
Okay.
Hang
Yeah,
hang
go
tight,
ahead, man.
everybody. I'll be right back.
Let's see. Let's see. What's a good like old timey commercial? Maybe I could do like a Ben Shapiro thing and like do a plug for life insurance or something. So,
Hey, that'd be great. Yep. You're in my AirPods. That's why I could still hear you.
oh, okay. I was like, dang, he's got a really good speaker, really good hearing.
Well, it's just my AirPods.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
Yep. I just gave her bottle, so we should be in good shape now.
There you go.
And what I'll do is I'll plug up my computer while I'm at it, so
There you go.
I have to worry about this thing dying on
Yeah,
us.
there's no way I could talk like I could talk as fast as Ben Shapiro. You know what I'm talking about, huh?
Oh yeah, I sure do.
So I
And
like a
I
lot of
don't.
what he has to say, but golly, he talks so fast. It's like I have a
I get
kind of a
overwhelmed.
I have a 3/4 speed brain, and he talks about 4x. So there's
Yeah.
just no way.
See, the max I could do is probably 2x. So whenever I'm listening to like the Audible stuff, 2x is the fastest I could go before it
Can
doesn't
you do
even make sense to me
2x?
anymore. Mhm.
Wow, like I've tried. I think you can do even like 1.25x on Audible or whatever. And I
Yeah.
tried that, and it's like my brain knows it's not the normal speed of speech, and I just can't do it. So I'm stuck at 1x forever.
It's you get used to it after a while. So it's like I started out at 1.1, and then after a while 1.2, and as you incrementally grow, it's like the whole frog in a boiling pot scenario,
Yeah, right.
where that's exactly what it's like.
I got you. All right. So let's talk about your teachings, because this is one of the things I feel
Mhm,
like makes me a good financial coach. Is I have a teaching gift, and I've been dealing with like adult learning and education kind of informally for like, I guess, 7 years, and then formally because I do the night classes at ITI. I guess you could call that formal, for I guess
mhm,
4 years now. So like a total of like 11 years, and I feel like, I feel like, I mean, you know the scripture that like you have many teachers but not many fathers. I almost feel like we really don't have that many teachers, and we have a lot of people out there that know a lot and they're like really good at their jobs,
mhm.
and we ask them to teach people, but then they don't have like the ability to teach and to educate and to break things down where people get it. So whenever you're meeting with some of the advisors that you're coaching or teaching or whatever, what
Mhm.
do you think is like the best way to break it down for them, or to put it in a package where they can receive it?
So I am a big fan, and I used to teach, so a lot of this comes from this. But whenever it comes to adult learning, I'm a big fan of chunk style learning. Where adults can, process information, at certain chunks before mind drifts to, well, what am I going to eat for dinner, or my kids
Yeah.
are doing this, or my wife. I mean, my wife upset at
I don't
me
know how
about this,
many
that, or
night
the third.
classes you've taught, but dude, when you teach night classes, that is on a whole new level.
Yeah. So so I'm a big, but because of that reason, I'm a huge fan of the chunk style learning, and I do spend a good deal actually teaching. There's a financial planning software that I use personally for clients, and that I also do a good bit of teaching around as well. And it is a massively sophisticated system. And in order to teach people like that, it would be like drinking water from a fire hose. So, in breaking that up into different chunks, it's like, okay, how can we make this digestible for people in a way where not just to the point where they can understand this, but it can actually have a real impact in their world and in their business. But the chunk style learning, where you're going 10 to 15 minutes, and then you break and you do something, and then you go for another 10 to 15 minutes, and then you break and you do something. So it's a very, not quite like a speed dating kind of thing, but the same concept whenever it comes to learning.
That's awesome. So, okay, so one of the big things for me, you have to have whatever topic you're teaching, you have to get across like a foundational truth, or a foundational, or maybe just a solid foundation, maybe is the best way to say it, of
Mhm.
whatever that topic is, before you can start, building upon that foundation about the intricacies of the topic. So how do you feel like you identify what that foundational piece is, so that you can build on it?
So I'll just use the financial advising space as an example to kind of bring across this point. So if I'm teaching the planning software, in order before we get into all the different calculators that are involved in it, and before we go into fee and tax impact calculators, wealth building potential, or we'll do like sequence of returns, before we even get into any of that stuff, there has to be an overall agreement on the approach to financial planning that advisors should have if they're going to utilize the tool that to their fullest potential. So, so I teach a four-step, very basic principled approach to get everybody on the same page, and then at that point, they would be in a position to, as I say, learn the rules like a pro, so you can break them like an artist. Is a
Yeah.
quote that I would use to really describe that. So, so if we can put people in a position where they can, from an advisor standpoint, if we could put people in a position where they can build wealth, it's like, okay, well, how do we do that? Well, we have to, protect against certain risks that could potentially compromise a financial plan. People have to control their most powerful wealth building tool. That's their ability to save money and their ability to make money. They have to be a element of liquidity there, to not just for emergencies, but also for opportunities out there,
Right.
which I know the emergency fund is taught about a lot in the financial planning and financial coaching space. but putting money aside and having it liquid for opportunities. Now that's
Yes.
something that I haven't seen, as often. And what those opportunities are going to vary for different people. And that's where, if I'm an advisor, I will put that in a client's court, in terms of they're going to be the ones that's going to identify the big money making things, whether it's a business they want to start, it is a certain career that they want to embark on, a piece of real estate they want to go grab, or maybe it's the next GameStop or AMC out there that they want to put some money into.
Right.
Regardless of what those situations are, our job is to put people in a position where they can do that. And then, of course, redirecting money from debt instruments onto your own personal balance sheet. So, from a teaching standpoint, if I can get advisors to agree on those four pillars and principles from a planning standpoint, then it makes teaching the rest of the intricacies of that software 100 times easier. If they're
Absolutely.
not in agreement with that, it's going to make my job a lot more difficult. But then you'll have more challenges there.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I am so passionate about what you just said with, having money. Yes, you need money for emergencies. Yes, but you need money to be able to take advantage of opportunities. And that's why I'm so big on, extra income streams for ordinary people,
Hmm.
because let's say you had, just say, $2,000 to buy GameStop. You saw something crazy on Reddit and you're like, you know what, let's just do it. And I didn't do that, by the way, because I didn't have the extra $2,000. But if I did, and then GameStop goes from like $35 a share to 500 or whatever, you have the opportunity to take advantage of that. And what I've realized is that a lot of wealth building is just being in a position to take an advantage of an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Everybody thinks, that your wealth and like you getting rich is all about this one time that I got all into GameStop and it made me a millionaire and I was happy the rest of my life. No, no, that's not how that works. It's a series of, I was able to take advantage of this opportunity and I got a little bit ahead. And I was able to take advantage of this opportunity and I got a little bit ahead. And then from those two things, I was able to take advantage of this opportunity and it blew up. And then from that, I was able to take advantage of this one. And you keep building because you're taking advantage of all these opportunities. And then for me, seeing people get into as much debt as they get into, and
Hmm.
not really putting either the income streams or the opportunity fund to work and to practice. To me, that was never really taught
Yep.
to me. I'm just now getting into this, Charles. So,
Hmm.
that's what's making me so passionate about it. Is there's a whole nother world out there for people. We just got to go talk to people like you and me and figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm huge on that as well, because there's a quote that says the opportunity of a lifetime, comes around about once a week if you know what you're looking for. But if you're not, but if you're not prepared for the opportunity, even if you do see it, it does anybody no good.
Yeah, absolutely,
So
man.
we're
So,
huge on the
uh,
preparation side of things.
right. So I wanted to talk about this too, because you started with one company and now you're working for
Hmm.
another one. What
Yep.
what was your what made you decide to make that swap? So because there's a lot of people that maybe they're thinking about pursuing another opportunity with another company,
Hmm.
or um, maybe they're just a little nervous about taking that step. What made you decide that this is the best move for me, career wise, for my family, what have you?
So, so I started out in the industry at Edward Jones, and I'm grateful for my time there, because I got fully licensed at a very, very young age, and I didn't realize at the time just how hot of a commodity that was, and just how many advisors in the space are not fully licensed. So it's one of those you
Oh,
don't know
wow.
what you don't know situations.
Okay.
Um, so
I didn't know that.
now, now with that, there was three institutions that I worked with and worked for, um, you know, and just in the totality of my career. The first obviously being Edward Jones. The cool thing about that is, you learn a lot and you meet a lot of great people. The challenging thing about that, like with any entrepreneurial or sales industry thing, is there are certain requirements and things that you have to meet in order to, keep moving forward. To make a long story short, I didn't meet that to be in the beginning, And I mean, there was just a lot of nerves and a lot of, challenges and feelings that, I felt, just starting in the industry at a young age, and head trash is what I call it. Who's going to, allow me, this young 20-something-year-old, to, manage what they've worked their whole life to save? How are
Right.
they going to give somebody like
Right.
me that opportunity? Or, back in those days, I'm knocking doors in neighborhoods, introducing myself to people, and I have no idea what's going to happen. And, in
Wow.
that instance, it's tough. Um, and I remember, after that faithful day, which was April 4th of that year, I remember coming up on another anniversary of that. We had a Emory 2 weeks later, right after, I'd lost my opportunity at Edward Jones. And, just to make a long story short, I mean, it's just one of those things. I didn't get it done. And I'm not, by any means faulting them for, doing what they
Sure.
had to do. It's just a little more or less me not doing what I had to do. That
Right.
said, I felt like, I mean, I didn't want to give up on the industry, because one of the interesting nuggets I got out of that time is that last month, I felt like I was finally kind of sort of getting that being comfortable with being uncomfortable feeling,
Yeah.
where I was just used to it. But it just wasn't enough time for me to do what I had to do. So I made a quick decision, and I kind of took a step back to work as an associate financial advisor under a senior financial advisor in a bank situation. And that was not fun, because he was a taskmaster, in terms of
Mm.
just he was just relentless in just how he went about building his business. But I learned, but he taught me how to make money in the industry.
Hmm.
And he just taught me the importance of the activity, and running a good process, and being accountable for your time and what you're doing. Because the greatest thing about the industry, or any entrepreneurial thing, is you have all the freedom and the time and the flexibility, and the worst thing is you have all the freedom, the time, and the flexibility. So if there's not some self-discipline there, it's
Let's say
very
you got to
easy to
have the
fail.
discipline to keep yourself in bounds.
Definitely. So I did that for about a year, and I was tired of working for the taskmaster. I wanted to get out of Egypt. I wanted to go to the promised land. So at that point, I just began to pray about different opportunities, and I felt at this time I was ready to sort of venture out on my own. And whether that is me being completely independent, or me partnering with a firm to do that, I felt like I was ready. So that's whenever I end up just having conversation with On Horse Financial, JP Caswell, who's the which he goes to our church at the warehouse campus. Interestingly enough, I recognized him from church whenever we had first started having initial conversations, some years back. And just one thing led to another. We
Was
hit
that
it
Sean?
off. Not Sean, JP Caswell,
I might know
John
his face,
Paul.
I guess.
He has 3 kids, 2 boys, 1 girl. Warehouse campus always sits on, if you're going into the warehouse campus, that far right side.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of has the haircut like a Thor. He's gonna get me for saying
Yeah.
that. But I mean, just super, super awesome dude. And incredible leader.
Not a
Had a lot of
taskmaster.
successes. Yeah, not a taskmaster. And in fact, I knew coming into this that this was going to be an opportunity where I'm more or less, you know, not on my own, in the sense where I'm on an island, but the independence, the autonomy, the things that I, came in the industry for.
Right.
I knew I was going to be able to have those things. And the interesting thing is, I really wanted to encompass a full comprehensive financial planning approach to my business, because I know if I were just to talk about someone's investment portfolio, or I were to just sell insurance or sell stocks or whatever the case is, that it just doesn't tell the complete story as to how somebody were to build wealth. And there's
Yeah,
so
that's
many
really
other
good, man.
factors that has to be taken in consideration in order for people to be in that position. So I wanted to encompass a holistic planning approach to what I do and what I would bring to clients. So I felt like that was offered. Um, I had the opportunity rather to be able to do that at Iron Horse Financial. I made the jump. Started meeting with clients, having some success there, and before I know it, I'm teaching other people how to do the same. Wow. I still do meet with actually a good deal of clients, more than I ever have before. I always say I don't meet with as many people as I do, and then I see 15 appointments on my calendar. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know why I keep telling people that.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad you're open about that, because I think there's a lot more people out there that they get that kick in the pants, or that big beat down or something like that,
Yeah.
and a
And
lot
people
of it
don't
is
go
just
for
like
that
what you
because of
said.
fear of failure too.
Yeah, yeah,
And people don't,
eh,
yeah, it's a scary thing.
yeah, absolutely. And you don't know what you don't know, and at the end of the day, it's a vicious world out there, and
Yeah.
that's kind of a good thing in a way, because it makes you realize, like, hey, I can't take a passive approach to my education, like my life education, because if I
Yeah.
do, then I'm going to get smacked in the face. So the next opportunity or the next job or whatever, I'm going to go ask questions, like just period, random questions, and I'm going to figure things out, and I'm going to educate myself and not leave my fate in someone else's hands. Because
Yeah.
kind of a similar thing happened to me. I got so it was right after I bought a house, and which that's a whole other video in itself. Should not have done that. But anyway, uh, it was right after I bought a house, and I got this is when I worked for another company, and I got a really bad performance review because I was, fresh out of school. I thought they were going to take me under their wing and like train me and do all this stuff, and none of that happened. So I was just kind of like floating around, not really knowing what to do. And I got this bad performance review, and kind of before that, like, so it was the 2008 crash, and they, gave us a pay cut and stuff like that. So it's like one day I wake up, and if my roommate hadn't moved in with me, I wouldn't have been able to afford like my mortgage. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was like a huge wake up call to me. And from then on, though, when I realized I can't depend on other people to educate me, and I can't depend on other people to take me under their wing,
Yeah.
that's when I started taking more ownership of my own life, really. And it grew me
Yeah.
up. Um, and it sucked. It was not fun to hear, those,
Mhm.
basically, you're not doing your job, and if you don't improve in a year, you're fired. That's basically
Yeah.
what it was. um, but it taught me a lot, and that's what I really want to do with Kingdom Gold, is bring on guys like you and help educate people so they don't have to go through that big beat down, and hopefully can
Yeah.
avoid people some pain.
Boy, it's one heck of a beatdown. I guess both sides of the story. I know mine was I remember mine very well. And it's one of those things that, keeps you humble even in the midst of success. Because oh boy, talk about a beatdown.
Yeah, I understand, and especially having a kid 2 weeks later. I mean, that's.
Oh, I mean, I think I cried like every day
Oh,
between
I bet.
between those periods, because I'm just like, what am I going to do? And thankfully, I didn't owe Edward Jones any money or anything for just because that happens fairly often, where it's more like whenever people get started in the industry, it's like a franchise model, so to speak, in a lot of cases. But thankfully, I didn't.
Yeah.
So at least there was that. But I mean, still, I mean, health insurance, bills, kids. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
already having one, and
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, that was tough.
Yeah, and exactly what you said. You don't ever forget the pain of that or the sting, and
Mm-mm.
it keeps you humble. And to me, it also helps drive me on too. Like, you know, especially now, having a wife and kids. Like you, just like I can't. Failure's not an option.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, all right. So I know we've been going for a little bit. How about like two more questions, and
Sure.
we'll let you get back to your training. But I do want to
Oh
give you
yeah.
on at least like six more times, because I know we have a lot more to talk about.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I have a lot I could say too. So,
There you go.
whenever you're game, I'm game.
Right. All right. So what? Well, actually, let's ask a different question. So, who have been some of your big mentors, advisors, books you've read? Who's been some of the big influences on your life, in your career path or your business path?
So that's a phenomenal question. I'll start with some books and then I'll move to some people. Books that I've read that have really made an impact. And what I do is Roger Dawson, it's an old book, has a book called Power Negotiating, which really helps me to navigate conversations that I have with people. A little bit more on the sales side, but this could also be used on a daily life thing. So that's a very powerful one. I'm going through a book right now called The Power of Habit, which is awesome. It's, how do you cultivate keystone habits in your life that will have positive impacts in other areas of your life. Actually going through and teaching that book to that
Oh,
group of
cool.
our advisors as well. So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. And I have to read it because I can't teach what I don't read. So
Right. Right.
um,
That is one of
so
the advantages about teaching is like you have to know your material before you get up
definitely,
there and try to present it.
definitely. I know that one other author, and I've read all of the books, is there's one that's called Be Obsessed or Be Average by Grant Cardone.
Yep. That's on my list
So
for I got like 2 or 3 marketing books I'm doing now, but yeah, that one's
yeah,
next on my list because yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So be obsessed, be average, the 10x rule. If you're not first, you're last. So those are, a
Yep.
few Grant Cardone books that I've read and have gone through. And I say that's especially impactful, not so much for the specific information that is shared in the books, but the spirit that is the underlying theme in those books in terms of just thinking bigger. So, like if somebody comes into the industry, as an example, the 10x rule book concepts. If somebody comes in the industry and they want to make $100,000 in their first year, if you go based off of Grant Cardone's teaching on the 10x rule, is what you do is you take that original goal, multiply that by 10, and then you ask yourself the question, what would it take to make $1 million in a year? And it's one of those things that forces you to stretch your mind past the original
Absolutely.
$100,000 that you're looking to obtain. So, and they go into some specifics on the specific principles on how you would go about doing that. In terms of just writing your goals down, being around the right people.
Right.
Just the hustleness, the grit, and the willingness to work hard. But again, it's just one of those things. It's a mental thing that
Yeah.
forces you to stretch bigger. I would also say that JP has also been a monumental person in that as well, because he very much so lives by those principles in terms of just thinking bigger. And sure, there's a lot of people in the industry that could come in, make a six-figure income, have a good living, but there's so much more that could be available out there for people
Right.
if they
Absolutely.
just stretch their mind, expanded their mind, and made a commitment to grow, learn, develop, and even while you have some success, can you still work hard the way that you used to get yourself to the next level? And it's all about, and again, it's not just about the money, because the money comes and the money goes, but what are the things that you want to do whenever you get to that level? What's the greater purpose? Like, what's the real goal that the numbers would essentially be a means to an end to achieve? And that could be anything. So whether it's planting churches or feeding hungry kids, or whether it's starting a new business, new venture, whatever that case is, it's just a, thinking bigger allows you to, or puts you in a position where you can accomplish those goals or to take advantage of those opportunities. So,
Absolutely.
those have been some monumental books that I've certainly read. JP's obviously been a very monumental person, just in my life, and has also become a great friend as well. So, I mean, those have just been some big ones in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. 10x rule. I feel like Grant Cardone should almost give me a commission because I've talked about 10x rule. That I should probably go ahead and say it. It's been a life changing book for me. Just realizing,
Mhm.
you know, how much time I have wasted with the small thinking and how I need to
Yeah.
think so much bigger and do so much bigger. And it's like in the process of doing goals you can't achieve, you're going to achieve way more than the little goal that you set for yourself at the beginning.
Oh,
Um,
without question.
yeah, and my mind is still expanding from that, or because like I said, I'm just kind of getting into this thing, but I realize the opportunities to help people and so I mean to make money for myself, but more to help people and help them
Mhm.
become more financially secure. That to me has been like the opportunities are just amazing.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm right there with you, growing and learning every day, getting better. Mine is expanding, so I'm right there with you there.
Yeah. All right. So that's a good segue to the next question. So do you have any um, side gigs or other income streams that you either have or would like to pursue one day or that you're working towards? Do you have anything like that?
So within the industry, I have 6 streams of income within the industry right now. So they
Come
all
on,
work in
man.
different ways. So as far as like outside of the financial planning space, I mean, I know that we spoke offline about the whole fitness thing, which certainly is in play at some particular point. I just have to stop myself from working 15 hours a day in the financial planning space. I need to hire some staff. That's what I need to do.
Yeah.
What would propel me to the next level? Hiring some staff, an assistant, an associate advisor, certainly is something that is going to happen here in the very near future.
Awesome.
So, and I think, the whole point and purpose of that is not just to expand my business, but it can also, from a time standpoint, free me up to do other stuff. Because, right now
Definitely.
between, I'm pretty stretched with the family, the kids, business, fitness, marriage, all of those things.
That's plenty.
So, yeah, so if I can get some help in that area, then I think it will put me in a position to explore some other things outside of that. But
Well, see,
again,
I'm really I'm glad you said that because I've known a lot of people, they've had successful businesses and then they
mhm,
got to that point, like you're saying, and then they just get so stressed out and they don't have any fun because they're working so much, but they don't
mhm,
realize they need to bring someone else on to help take the time to train them, get them going right,
yep,
et cetera. And then they'll just let their business die and go work somewhere, or, they'll just stay stressed out till they have a heart attack or, just crazy
yeah,
stuff like that. And it's
yeah.
like
You need
the
other
whole,
people if you want. You need other
yeah,
people if you want this to be sustainable.
absolutely. It can't all just be on you. So I'm glad you're bringing that to light. Because to me, it's like the whole point of me being successful is not just so Scott can, hang out on the beach all day and have a yacht or whatever, all this other foolishness. Me being successful means like people behind me are successful and I might be leading the charge, but I'm bringing other people up with me, for one, for my own benefit because I can't do everything. And for two, you're helping other people better their lives. And then now they're in a position to help other people and to bring everybody up. And I think a lot of people miss that in the business world.
Yeah, because I mean, because people in the business world are so driven, and you have to be successful, because nothing's going to be given to you in the business world, especially whenever you have people, especially little people that are depending on you to be successful
Right.
in order, order to feed your family and take care of them. So you do need that, but in addition to that whole be the hardest worker in the room mentality, which I'm a big believer in. It also should be accompanied with the work smarter thing, or as Ecclesiastes to quote the scripture, sharpening the axe, because
Yeah.
it's the value of wisdom. It helps you to succeed. And part of sharpening that axe is to have people who are committed to the same values that you are, from a business standpoint, to help you along the way. Because again, me working 70, 80 hours a week in a perpetuity is not a sustainable thing. I don't want to do that. I think Krishandra would divorce me if I did that, and I'm not trying to be a statistic in that regard. So
Absolutely.
I mean, I think that's a people have to plan for that and prepare for it.
So, okay, just a quick story. So, my big passion is helping normal people, get a home-based business started, or if they want to go into business for themselves, they to help them figure out how to do that, right? But and I started thinking about it, like, what are some basic principles that a person just starting a business needs to learn or to figure out? And like my first one that came to mind was, I will not sacrifice my family on the altar of success. Because how
Mhm.
many people do you probably know plenty, I know plenty that
Oh yeah,
they're career driven, they're business driven, whatever. And, yeah, they have this massive successful business, but they've been married 4 times and their kids hate them. And, their family life is a wreck because they've been doing exactly what you just said, working 70, 80 hours a week, don't have time for ball games, don't have time for birthdays. And it's like, why do that to yourself? Bring people on board
Yep.
with you to help. It's not all about you. It's about building a business and a system where everyone can succeed.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree to that. And just in fact, one of the things that we discussed is, if there are certain seasons where you have to just pour more into it, I mean, it should be just that, seasonal, not into perpetuity. Because
Well
if it
said.
is into
Well said.
perpetuity, then that's where bad things start to happen.
Yeah.
And I've been around the block where I've seen many of people, I'm sure as you have as well, experience massive amounts of success from a financial standpoint, but you lose your family in the process,
Yeah.
or you lose your wife, your kids, whatever. Or in some cases, people lose their health as well, because they don't even prioritize
Yes,
that,
absolutely.
and or all of the above, God forbid. So
Right.
um, that's a very, the business exists to serve us, not us to serve the business. I think that
Amen, man.
blends the
That's, man,
concept perfectly.
so good, man. That is beautifully said. So, all right. So I have one and a half more questions. All right. Now,
Okay.
everybody pay attention. All right. This is Mr. Charles Duplechain, financial advisor extraordinaire, managing director of all the other, the advisors behind, or I don't know. I don't want to say underneath you because that sounds kind of bad, but
Yeah.
but maybe
I
behind
get
or
what you're
just,
trying to say.
yeah, under his wing. We'll say it like that. So, what are some things? What is a practical step or two that people, normal people, everyday people can do right now, today, to help them become more financially stable?
To become more financially stable, well,
Yep.
um, come see, give me a call. Shameless plug. That would be a good place to start, because I'm very confident in our process of what we do to help people. I have people who are on the other side of that process who are able to take advantage of all kinds of opportunities. Um, so I think just having someone in your corner that could take you through a good, solid, professional process that is thorough, that can put you in a position to accomplish your goals, whatever that case may be. I think is one place to start. The second thing I would say is to surround yourself with like-minded people. So it's hard for me to talk about me wanting to achieve, X, Y, and Z whenever someone is committed to making horrible financial decisions. So um,
Right.
so if I'm talking about saving 10 to 15% of my income and investing and other stuff and starting businesses, and somebody just wants to blow all of their excess funds at the mall or whatever the case is, it's going to be hard for us to come into alignment with that.
Right.
So the scripture would speak of that as being unequally yoked, if you're looking at it from a scriptural standpoint.
Right.
So I'd say, get plugged into a good professional process, number one, which I think I know a guy that can help with that. Two, surround yourself with like-minded people who are going in the same direction that you're wanting to go in. Those would be the two main pillars that I would certainly suggest.
Awesome, man. Yeah, there's something to be said about the getting help when you need it, right?
Hmm.
I like to say it, look at your bank account from this year to last year. Is it bigger? No. If it's not, then you need to talk to somebody. If, shameless plug, but even if it's not, like a financial coach or financial advisor, at least someone
Hmm.
that's doing a little better than you. I mean, I do recommend getting some, more professional help and someone that can lead you and guide you and coach you or
Hmm.
whatever, to help deal with those behavioral issues. But a lot of people aren't even asking the questions because they think, oh, it'll figure itself out, right? Okay,
Yeah, I
so
would also say that I would also say this, just if people ever have any questions, again, whether that's Scott them reaching out to you, somebody reaches out to me, or any professional within the industry, most folks I know don't charge you for like a phone call. So if there are
right,
questions, certainly reach out. Because I think a lot of this head trash can get into people's way, or get in people's way of actually reaching out to make those initial steps. And you'd be surprised just how freeing and liberating it is to just take that initial step.
exactly,
Maybe it's out of your comfort zone a little bit, and think, oh, I had no idea it would be so simple if I did this, or if I just did that, or I called this person. So
yeah.
definitely reach out.
Absolutely. So, okay, so here's the last half question. So, if someone wanted to contact you about soliciting your services or just seeing if, if you'd be a good fit for helping them out, or just to call you and contact you in this context, what's the best way to reach you?
Best way to reach me is to give me a call on my business line, 225-572-6669. That's the easiest way to get in touch with me. I can receive text messages on that as well. So I know that we're in a relatively new age. I am a phone call guy, but you can certainly text me as well. That's because I have a good deal of older clients as well. They like the phone calls too.
Right.
But yeah, call me, text me if you have any
What was that
questions.
number again?
Just 225-572-6669.
Okay. I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'll put that in the comment section on this video when we're done, and
Absolutely. Sure.
for people to contact you.
Yeah, definitely. So, definitely give me a call. I don't charge anybody to sit down with them. So if
Right.
you're just interested in seeing what that process looks like, you have questions about just anything, whether it is product specific or not, the stock market, mutual funds, whatever, give me a call. Give me a call.
And I'll do another shameless plug for you, Charles, just because this is the kind of guy I think you are. For anyone out there that needs a financial advisor, I would recommend Charles at the top of my list for sure. Because Charles, you're one of those people that I trust you with my life. I trust you with my family. I know you're a man of integrity. You're not just here to get people's money. You're here to help people, and it's if you make money doing it, that's great. So anybody who
Mhm.
needs financial advisor, Charles is definitely your man. He's going to help you out in the best way possible. So there's another shameless plug for you.
Well, hey, Scott, I definitely appreciate that. So again, 225-572-6669. Questions about the market, insurance, overall financial planning, goals, retirement, whatever the case is, give me a call. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions people have. So,
Yeah.
Scott, I appreciate that. That
Yeah,
means a
you
lot.
got it, man. So I'll let you go get to your. So I know y'all can't really see it, but Charles is a pretty fit man. He's got those muscles bulging. I'm trying to be more like him in that regard for sure. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
Charles, really appreciate your time, man. This is one where I know I'm going to go back and listen to it because I really like the way you say things. That's that teacher part in you, right? Breaking it down, and we're
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
going to have
It'll
you back
never leave
on.
me.
Yeah, because I know there's at least, I don't know, probably six more topics that in the course of this brought to my mind that I think each one of those deserves like their own individual session.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, anytime you want to do it, I'm game, man.
Yeah, sounds good, man. Well, you have a good night, and we will call it a night.
All right. You take it easy, man.
Yeah, you too,
Yep.
bud.
Everybody online, take it easy.
Yep. Bye, everyone. Thanks a lot.